Hey guys, whoa! That's exactly what I needed actually. I needed a little bit of that this morning. I was just playing with this with my daughter, so hold on. I mean, I could leave it on the entire time, but how could you trust me for the news like this? Maybe even more. Oh, I love the ears too, maybe even more. We've had a little bit of an exciting morning here with drawing on tattoos from my kids while I was trying to get the site kind of ready. My daughter decided to tattoo her entire leg with ballpoint ink because mom wasn't paying attention. That's totally my fault. See, I thought I was winning because I painted her nails this morning at like 6 o'clock. So I thought we had this like bonding moment. And then here's just a reminder, I depend on social media almost completely for a lot of things. And this morning I couldn't post anything on Instagram for a while. And it's just a reminder why if you go to smarternews.com, you can sign up for our newsletter there. I think you need a backup to social media. And no matter how many times, I've gotten different business advice over the last year about, really just, solely focusing on social media, which I agree with. But, if Instagram goes down or Facebook goes down or Twitter decides to censor you, there's no backup. And so if you have a chance this week, definitely go to smarternews.com. Just put your name for the newsletter. We send it out once a week. We don't send a bunch of emails or anything like that. But that way, if something happened or we needed to end up, sending you a daily email with our content because one of the social media platforms not working for whatever reason, then we can do that. So just want to put that out there as a public service announcement for Monday. Let's start. There's 3 things I think you should know, and I'm kind of cheating on this because 2 are real things and the last one's like a trip around the world. But let's just start off with some good news today. Dolly Parton was honored by the FBI in Knoxville, Tennessee, her home state, for her work during these terrible wildfires in 2016. Her foundation actually donated $10,000 to 900 different families who were affected by these devastating wildfires. And so the FBI honored her. And what's interesting is that Dolly, she's 73, like she is still like so inspirational and so cool. 73 years young is what I mean. And last week there was an announcement that she's starting her own lifestyle brand. So fashion, accessories, home items. She says you might see her mug on a mug. Dolly, she talks like that. So, she has 100 million albums sold. So who knows what this new lifestyle line is going to look like, but it's just another way that she's expanding her empire, but she's also doing great things. So I think you should know that. Also, she's given away 100 million books in her another foundation that is dedicated to early literacy because her father did not know how to read and write, and so this is something that she started. So, way to go, Dolly. She's an inspiration. Hashtag Monday Motivation, something I think you should know. So that's like a fun story I think you should know. Second thing I think you should know is that President Trump over the weekend announced a new potential head for immigrations and customs enforcement. This is really important because immigration remains a central part of his administration and, a big topic obviously here in the United States. You should know whoever he names, which he did over Twitter, needs Senate confirmation. So it's not like an automatic thing. But this person's really interesting because he used to be the head of Border Patrol for President Obama. And then when the Trump administration came in, they brought in their own people. But he has been outspoken in supporting President Trump, although he worked under a different administration. So I think that's important to know. Also, I was just checking out the ICE website for any new press releases or anything, and I thought this was really important to flag for you. I didn't see it anywhere last week. Remember, one of the big historic things about what's going on at the U.S. southern border right now and southern border apprehensions is the amount of family units that are coming across the border. So that's a would-be mother and a child or a group together. And that's why it's historic. That's what we haven't seen before. Well, ICE just last week sent some resources to the southern border to look at what they're calling fraudulent family units. Because, look at us. Like in the United States, you get on a plane, everyone's just assuming that's my child. No one's really checking that Liberty belongs to me. I'm saying she belongs to me. And similarly, when these folks come across the border, sometimes they have birth certificates, sometimes they don't. Law enforcement basically has to make their best call. And so I thought this was important to flag that ICE is looking at any sort of fraudulent documents or, fraudulent family units. So folks that are crossing saying, this is my daughter, or this is my son, when it's really they're not relatives. And what's scary about that is because of the influx of people, basically Border Patrol processes these folks and then they're released into the American public with a responsibility to follow up with their immigration status. So once these children and adults are through the border, we really don't have any track of them. And if that toddler doesn't actually belong to this person that came across the border with them, clearly that's scary. So we don't know, we have no data on how many cases that could potentially be, but just something I want you to know about because I think it's a focus. Okay, let me take you on this third thing I think you should know, take you on a quick trip around the world because there's a lot going on. And I think you should know a little bit about some of what's happening. Number one, you had some major rocket fire exchange between Gaza and Israel. Hamas is a terrorist organization that is basically the government of Gaza, which is this neighboring piece of land to Israel. Significant rocket fire between the two sides. It looks like as of today, Monday morning, there's some sort of a truce right now, but something to watch because tensions there are really important because the United States is a key ally for Israel. Also, the United States just announced late on Sunday that we're sending an aircraft carrier to the Middle East because of some, and it's very not specific, threats from Iran. We don't know what that means. We don't know what that's all about, but you should know that we're sending an aircraft carrier to the area as a sign of strength. So also happening in the Middle East. Take you over to North Korea. North Korea this weekend reportedly fired off these new short-range ballistic missiles or missile. We don't, again, reports, but we have to flag this because this is provocative behavior coming from North Korea when the United States and other world powers have tried to engage North Korea to have a less aggressive military stance. So also important to note. And finally, President Trump, again on social media yesterday, was talking about a China trade deal that hasn't come together, saying that he was threatening higher tariffs or taxes on Chinese goods. We have to watch this. We are the two largest economies in the world, America and China. We don't have a trade deal yet. Negotiations are supposed to continue this week in Washington. We were supposed to have a trade deal by the end of April. That deadline has moved a lot, but that has major potential impact to affect your life because of what it could mean for the economy. Yes, the American economy looks strong. We had a jobs report on Friday. It looks, our unemployment rate is low. A measure of our production is high, but still that could have a major effect. So there's a couple things to watch. Middle East, Israel, what's happening there. The United States sending more military assets to the Middle East because of an unspecified threat from Iran. You have North Korea sort of trying to remind the world that they're still there. And you still have this deal between China and the United States that we have to continue to watch. So a couple things I just want you to know about today. All kind of with a pretty bow of Dolly Parton on top. Because that's what SmartHER News is all about. We should know about what's happening, immigration, national security, and Dolly Parton. I think all at the same time. That's what I believe. Okay, this week's going to be a little different. We're going to try a couple different things out on the website. And just because of some things going on with my family, I don't know what Coffee Talk's going to look like every day this week. It might change, but just know we're still here providing you all the information that you need to know. Also, if you guys are confused about how many people are running for president, because we were, we put together a list for you that shows who's running for president and a little bit about who they are, how many women, how many veterans, how many senators, how many congressmen, how many mayors, how many governors, and it's kind of cool to flip through. So if you have some time today, check that out. All right, guys, have a great Monday. I'll talk to you later.